Now, this is not easy to do. I'm actually cycling as, and I'm holding the camera, and I'm aware that the wind might be picked up by the camera's microphone. Anyway, I'm cycling, and I thought I'm going to try and film me cycling. And if I can, I will flip the camera around so you can see where I'm going. So these videos are they're difficult to do. Anyway, I'm going to so I'm in central London, and I'm on Brook Street, and if I turn the camera there, you can see Claridge's, and there we go, and that's a really nice hotel actually. There you go, there's Claridge's, and this is Brook Street, and if I walk down here, and what I will do is I will just switch the camera. So if I walk down here, we end up on Bond Street, which is where all the high-end luxury brands are. And I thought I would take you onto Bond Street today. And I will just flip the camera around once again. I don't know if you'd rather see my face or see the direction I'm walking in, but I thought, let's see how we get on. Anyway, so I'm approximately 30 meters from Bond Street, and because this place is quite nice, if I just spin the camera around like this, you can see where I am. And it's the beginning of August, and today we have some very nice weather. In fact, I'm wearing shorts. I think you can see that. And believe it or not, the last few days, the beginning of August, we've had rain and autumnal weather. It's been amazing. And it's actually quite nice, that we have good weather today. And I think the British people in the UK tend to make hay whilst the sun shines. So the weather's out, you don't have much of a chance to do much else. And there's kind of a cool shop here. Don't know if you can see, it's very cool. Perhaps not my thing, but when I walk past these very nice shops, I can appreciate what's inside them, statues and things. But I'm sure there's a marketplace for them, and I'm sure that they do sell. Anyway, so I'm approaching Bond Street now, and I know that if I go towards Oxford Circus or towards Piccadilly, there's going to be watch shops all the way along. And what I thought I would do is simply walk up to them with the camera and see how we get on. So I'm almost on Bond Street right now, and the top half of Bond Street is they called it New Bond Street, and I can possibly show you. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if I can get that in there. It'll say New Bond Street there, and if you walk in that direction, which is north, you'll end up on Oxford Street. And I'm about to walk in that direction, which is south, towards Piccadilly. Anyway, I've got a feeling that because the distance to Oxford Street isn't too far, and I'm literally just looking to see if I can see any brand names up there. Oh, I think I've got Grand Seiko. Okay. I'm going to flip the camera around and walk up to Grand Seiko. So because Grand Seiko was the first brand that caught my attention, I thought, why don't I walk to Grand Seiko? Now, let me get across the road here. And what I've noticed about central London is there's always a building site. Wherever you go, there is development. I've never known anything like it. And so here is Grand Seiko. And look at that. So I haven't been in this shop, and this is the first time that I've been here and seen it. And I'm actually standing on the road here because I wanted the camera to get a shot. Now what I may do is ask the guy if I can walk in. So I'll do that now. So I had just stepped inside Grand Seiko, and they were very good actually. They were very nice, and they explained that they just need head office to authorize someone like me with a camera going into the store and you know, and sticking my nose into the shop and showing you the watches. So I said not to worry. I'm in London for the next hour, and just in case they say it's okay, they might call me and say, hey, you can come back. Anyway, so let's continue with Bond Street. So this is Grand Seiko, that is very close to Oxford Street there. And what I'm going to do now is go in this direction, and because I know that there are more brands down here. And literally, as I'm walking down, I'm going to stop and you know, show you the window. And I've got a feeling that the same thing's going to happen because I haven't, you know, booked notice that I'm coming in with a camera. So if I have chance, I'm going to, you know, send off the emails and see if I can, you know, they'll allow me into these shops with my camera, and hopefully I'll be able to shoot them. What's interesting is in Switzerland, I did a similar thing in Bucharest, and you know, no problems at all. I'm in central London, and yeah, I've got a feeling that they are a little tighter on these things, and you know, they really want everything authorised and have you looked at first, which is understandable. I sort of understand that. But whilst I was in Grand Seiko, for example, I noticed some really fabulous spring drive sports divers. And I'm sure that I have not seen them on the website either. So I do find that interesting. Yeah, and I really wanted to take a photo of them, but they didn't want me to do that. Although maybe I could have taken the photo, but they didn't want the camera. Anyway, I'm just going to flip the camera for a moment. The reason I've flipped the camera there is in one moment you'll see Breitling. And I actually was in there about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, for an event, and that was very nice. And I think I showed you some new Avengers and some new Premier watches that I really liked actually. And I suppose what I can do is I can walk up to the window, but I'm not actually even going to go in because I'm pretty sure that I'll get the same response. They really need it to be authorized beforehand, but I can show you what's in the window. I'm sure that's fine. And I do like Breitling actually. There are a few watches that you know, I would wear if I had them. That is for sure. So this is the side window, and so I don't know if so we have these. I don't really know the model range, but you can. This is the Time Classic Cars range. They're very sweet actually. I like this colourful one here, and I suppose a lot of people will like the red one. Anyway, let's go around to the main window, and so this is Breitling's main window on New Bond Street, and you can see here. So this looks like a smaller collection. They're all very nice actually. I imagine that the white one here and the red dial one are popular. I mean, they look very nice actually. And if we come over to the next pieces, these are the Navitime, Premiers. So I've looked at some gold versions of the Premier models, and yeah, these are very nice. I do like them. And the next window is the Navitimer collection. So everybody will know Breitling for their Navitimer, which is, you know, one of their most popular models. And if I can zoom in, I mean, that is a classic look actually. I think everyone would recognise that as a Breitling icon. It is very nice. And then we've got the Super Ocean Heritage. So this must be their water, the diver type of watch. And yeah, it's very nice. I'm just going to zoom out again. And yeah, so this is Breitling. So that was the second shop that I fell upon walking down New Bond Street. Now I'm pretty sure that New Bond Street turns into Bond Street. The New Bond Street is the top part that leads onto Oxford Street, and the bottom part, the south, is the original New Bond Street. And so far, I've come across Grand Seiko and Breitling, and okay, how could I possibly walk past this? Because I came here the other day. Let me flip around. There you go, so you can see what I'm looking at. So there's IWC, and what I will do is flip the camera around. So there's IWC. Now, I've recently been in IWC, and there's another video showing that, and I looked at some pieces, and I must admit I am a fan of the Pilot range and the Portuguese range of IWC. And I think once again I will walk up to the window, and yeah, once again I don't think they're going to allow me in with my camera, but there we go. So we've got the Portuguese in the window. So that one in the middle there, the red gold on the green rubber strap, that's the one I actually looked at, and it is very, very nice. And it's interesting, in their window, all they have is that Portuguese. I mean, it's one of their classic models actually, and they've got the IWC clock on the wall there. That's very good. But if I just step back, there's IWC once again. There's always somebody around, I've noticed. It's very difficult trying to film, when there's everybody around. And yeah, so that is IWC. And I will now walk further. Hold on. So for a while I've been looking at IWC watches, and in the past I've owned the Pilot watch 3706, which I think is about 20 years old now, the 3706, because it was a 39mm case. And in the last year I've noticed that around 2022, so this is 20 years later, I've noticed that eventually the case size has come down, and today they offer the Pilot in 43mm, but also 41mm. Now 41mm is very close to 39mm, so that instantly got my attention. And of course the way it looks is very similar. And it's a very popular chronograph Pilot watch. They've had this image for this type of watch for a long time, and I've always liked it. But when I saw the 41mm case size and the 20mm lugs, it started to make me think, ooh, I do like that size and I like this watch. But then I flipped it over, and the latest model, the IW388133. With a new bracelet. It actually has a sapphire see-through case back, so you can see the movement. So last week I actually came to IWC, and I viewed that watch, and also two solid gold Portugueses, the large 7-day and the older Portuguese that I think they've been making for 30 years now. But what I will do is switch the camera around. Here's the store, and it features in another video of mine, and it is very, very nice. And I must admit, the day that I arrived, and the salesperson I was chatting to, he was very, very nice, and the service was excellent. Yeah, I mean, obviously these things are expensive, so I imagine that not many people can literally walk in and buy them there and then. Especially the gold pieces, that they are very expensive. I'll just turn the camera out. I walked in really thinking to myself, I really, like these watches, and it got me thinking a bit more about, how do I progress in this direction, and get to a position where I can have the watch on my wrist, or at least film it, because I thought it was a great thing to look at. But anyway, IWC, and I will show you some pictures of the watches that I saw after this. So IWC, and so I'm now looking south on New Bond Street again, and I'm looking for my next brand name. Now, I remember years ago, there are a few more brands down here, and they're all very nice. And I'll just flip the oh, Panerai, there we go. I knew something was going to be close, but look at Panerai. Now, I remember looking at Panerai thinking, oh gosh, those watches are on the large side, but I sort of liked them because they had such a unique style, really. And of course, a very recognizable, square, very, very Panerai style. I do like it. And I'm looking at these new models here, and unfortunately the lighting's probably terrible. But they are really, I'm going to zoom in, see if I can get it, you might be able to see the watch a little better. But I think this is the Radiomir type. And it's the one I like, actually, because I'm not the biggest fan of the large crown, the crown guard, but the Radiomir has the smaller crown, and these are super. I do like the white dial solid gold one there. That is very nice. And if I just come out and maybe let's go to the other window, and yeah, so this is an even smaller case. And these are super. So I forget the Luminor, and this has the crown guard on the side. So the crown guard is not the thing that I like. I much prefer the Radiomir on the other side. And I'll go back to the Radiomir because this is the one that I really like, actually. That is super cool. Anyway, yeah. So I won't bother going in there because I think they will say that I need to, that they're going to have to ask if I can go in. But yeah, so this is Panerai. Now what I will do is continue heading down here, and we have Longchamp, Jimmy Choo. I don't really know these brands that well, but they're probably all very high end, right at the top of their game. And I'm going to continue. There's Hermes, and I know that they've really picked up their watch designing building game. And I'll just switch the camera on. So we have Hermes over here, and I do like the Hermes. Oh, I was about to run across the road there, and I'm probably yeah, when I'm by myself, I just shoot across. And in America, I think they call that jaywalking. And hands up, I do that. I just like to get a move on. And I always think traffic in central London is a real pain in the bum as well. And the motorists probably, will agree with me. It's we are a little congested. Anyway, we have Hermes here. And we have Burberry here, and once again, I'm not really a high-end brand person. He says, the person that likes Richard Mille, and IWC and Panerai. And we have Louis Vuitton. Let me get that Louis Vuitton here. And of course Chanel across here, and Louis Vuitton's very nice. Let me show you, flip the camera. So Louis Vuitton, I thought that was worth showing you because it's a very nice shop. It's actually a big shop, and I keep thinking, what on earth is is the rent on that costing? It must be amazing. Anyway, so yes, I think you can probably see now I'm heading towards Patek Philippe. Now, I was here years ago, and I do remember Patek being here then, so it's nice that they are still here. Now, what's interesting is the window display. So I know there's a lot of glare and reflection, but the thing that you notice immediately are these decorations more than anything else. And there are watches here, and there you go. And you know, of course, Patek Philippe is is such a prestigious, high-end, and expensive brand. You know, once again, these things are expensive because they're very well made. I mean, they're hugely over-engineered, and you know, even without having that in your hand, you're going to be able to, you know, feel the over-engineering very quickly, no doubt. And so I do recognise this model, but I don't know the reference. But it's the sort of thing that I do like, and it has a plastic covering over it, so it's probably not helping me focus. But what's interesting is that they've, you know, that there is one watch in that window, there is one watch in that display, and 2 watches in that display. So that's really quite interesting. And once again, Patek, and you know, how cool is that? Clifford Street on the corner, Clifford Street and New Bond Street. Anyway, let me come round to the side, and because, you know, I know they've got windows here as well, and look at that. And so once again, I can see 2 watches here, and of course we've got these. That's a red gold piece. In fact, they're both red gold, and they're super. But I have to say, the display is lovely. Actually, look at that. I quite like it actually. It's large, lots of flowers and colour, and 2 watches. I think it's very nice. And we have another display here, and we have you know, one watch in this window, and it's lovely. That is super. Look at that. And you know, I would like to go into Patek, but I'm pretty sure that they are, you know, I don't think they're going to allow me to go in there. But it is very nice. It is super. And if I just come back, this is a nice shop actually. Yeah, it's look at that. It's and of course we have this statue here, and that's been here for a while. That's Winston Churchill on the right, and I'd have to go up and reference this guy on the left, but that Roosevelt. This very helpful chap next to me has just told me that's Roosevelt. Ah, right. Okay. So we've got Roosevelt and Churchill. Look at that. In fact, I'm going to take a photo of that right now. Hold on. I'm going to wait for the person to walk by, but I'm going to get a photo. Look at that. I love these things actually. I feel if I could possibly... I know what I'm going to do. Hold on. Right. I'm going to sit with Roosevelt and Churchill, so let me do that. In fact, I can't actually squeeze in. I'm a little too large, but I've got Churchill here and I've got Roosevelt there. There you go. Outside Patek Philippe. I mean, that's quite cool actually, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to have to squeeze myself out of this chair. It's unbelievable. So I'll just turn the camera around once again. Hold on. So I managed to squeeze myself out of that position. So we're back to Patek, and what I do like is Patek has its own large clock outside, and you can see it there. Look at that. I do like that touch, and when I was in Geneva I noticed that they all had their clocks outside. But yeah, this is the central London Patek flagship store, and it's very nice. Yeah, and we've got Chanel across the road, and Louis Vuitton Patek Philippe. So I suppose we are, very high end. But anyway, let's continue along Bond Street. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. So we've got right. So I think this is New Bond Street north, turning to Bond Street. So not New Bond Street, just Bond Street. And I think it starts here, actually. And I've stumbled on Hublot. And opposite Hublot there is Givenchy. I don't know if you can see the name there. But let me flip around to Hublot. So, Hublot. Actually, so if you are at Patek Philippe just here, next door is Hublot. And once again, Hublot has its own, outside clock. And I do like that. In fact, imagine having that on your window. That would be very nice. And I just want to stand back again so we can see. I like looking at the colouring and the brand name and how it's presented. So let's get into the first watch I can see here. So the first one is right. So I recognise this watch, but I don't know its name. But it's one that I think it's okay. It's quite pleasant. I'm sure that I would wear it if I had it. And if I move on to the next window, it's a small diver style, and I forget. I won't even try remembering the model names here, but that looks like a solid gold piece. Then we have a sapphire crystal purple. That looks very nice actually, and its brother in blue. That certainly looks ceramic. And there's another blue here that definitely looks ceramic, and red. Actually, the red looks very nice. Red's a funny colour, but I imagine in the hand, that's super. That looks very nice actually. That looks really nice. And if I come over, so we've got Hublot Loves Summer, and there's a white ceramic. That's very nice actually. I do like that. So we have this white ceramic sapphire theme here, and I can tell you that being here outside the window, these watches are very nice. I'm pleasantly surprised. I quite like the look of them. I like that sapphire model there, and I like this. I was going to say steel, but I bet you it's it might be titanium or white gold. If it was steel, that would be great as well. But I do like that ceramic, and the sapphire, and I do like this white ceramic. That is very, very nice. And if I go to the next window, I don't know which model this is, but it's okay. I prefer the ceramic one I've just looked at. That looks a little bit like a Richard Mille, so straight away I'm not too bothered about that one. We're in Chopard now. I'll come back to that. So I'm back to Hublot, and I quite like the style of their presentation. It is very nice. This is definitely my favourite window under this white collection, and Hublot are calling that Hublot Loves Summer once again. And it's very nice. These are definitely my favourites. I do like them. That's very nice. Look at that. Yeah, that's super. Yeah, I do like these. I'm not too bothered about the square one, but I imagine in the hand, I might like it. But I definitely like the chronographs here. That ceramic, the ceramic there. This one with the metal case, and the reason I'm saying metal is I'm not sure if it's gold, titanium or steel, but that I'm pretty sure is sapphire, and this one again is ceramic. I do like them. Yeah, I'm quite surprised about that. I do like those watches, and I quite liked seeing the red ceramic one there, because for some reason the colour of it looks much better, in the flesh actually, and of course this purple one looks much better in the window like this. Anyway, I've just noticed Bulgari there, and so I suppose I better go there. But of course we've got Chopard, and if I go into the window here, I don't know these models. I can see there was a name to it there, although I can't see it right now. Mille Miglia. So I'm so sorry for butchering that name. Mille Miglia once again. These are nice actually. I do like chronographs, so that does appeal to me. And there's the brand name Chopard there. It's a very nice brand name actually. All these shops along here look lovely, and you know, these are super watches actually. They all look very, very nice. And Chopard has obviously jewelry, so we've got jewelry also, and then we're on to Blancpain. And so I'm a Blancpain fan, and I'm going to come across here. There we go. I do like the traffic. I've chosen a really bad time to, with a camera. But there's the Blancpain name and its branding. It's very nice. Everything along here is pretty good actually. We are in one of the high-end streets in central London, but it is all very, very nice. Anyway, I've been waiting for the people traffic to walk away. And so Blancpain is definitely a brand that I would spend time looking at, and I do like their watches. Although I can't see my favourites in the window, or they might be here actually. There you go. Yes, these divers. 50 fathoms. That's right up my street. I am a Blancpain diver style type person. These are lovely. Look at those. Very, very nice. And I'm just going to come back again. What I'm realizing is that I am, a busy time of London, and yeah, I've chosen busy. I thought actually Monday morning it might not be as busy, but you can see what it's like. Having the camera in my hand is a nightmare actually. Anyway, one of the reasons I came Monday morning was because I thought, it might be less busy. But right now I've got people and traffic to deal with. Anyway, so let's get over to Breguet, and so Breguet really is a name that's synonymous with the watch industry, and one of the the founders of it really. I should brush up on my history because I should know more about Breguet, but I know that they are very well thought of, and you can probably see the quality of these watches. They are super. They are very nice. They are very nice pieces. And I come over to this window. So these are the Pilot chronograph style watches. They are lovely. Now, so that's really the sort of thing that I like. How lovely is that? Yeah, really very, very nice. And these are the Breguet Marine. Well, they are definitely Marine because there's a name there for them. You can see the build quality of these is super. That is very nice. But once again, I wanted you to see the style of the shop. It's very nice. Anyway, I'm going to take a break just for a moment. So, as I switch the camera off, I spin around, and of course we have Piaget. Now, Piaget really is top-notch stuff, and I know that they make really nice watches, and there you go. Once again, I don't know the model names or references, but these are recognizable. I recognize this black one in particular, and it reminds me, it has a similar styling to Patek Philippe. That's, I suppose, why I recognize it. But it is very, very nice. And you know, we have two windows here. That's on the left, and we have the jewellery and watches on the right. But once again, Piaget, and you know, it's very, very nice. And of course, it's next to Bulgari, and yeah, you can see where I'm going here. You know, I've got high-end brand names, you know, every few meters now. Harry Winston. Now I know that I nearly got run over there, but never mind. Harry Winston. So it looks like we've just got the jewellery in the window here, which is fine. But Harry Winston, you know, that's a very high-end brand. And we have Graf, jewelers. So of course we have jewellery and watches, you know, together here. Chanel, of course, and Chaumet. I've probably butchered that. Cartier. Now look at, just before I go to Cartier, Ralph Lauren. You know, there's some big expensive shops here. Cartier is, you know, obviously quite a large shop. Look at that. Look at the gold and red and black colouring. It's very, very nice. And if I don't see any watches, in this window here I do. So I know Cartier are making some, you know, they really stepped up their game making watches. And, so I recognise that as a very recognisable classic piece. These look all precious metal, you know, so they're all going to be, I mean, they are super. Perhaps not for me, but I do like them, and if I saw them on someone's wrist, you know, I'd think it was very nice. I'd be quite impressed. So Cartier, let me step back so that you can perhaps get a feel for the size of that shop on Bond Street. And so what else have we got? I'm getting, we've got Ralph Lauren, and they have their own cafe, which is very nice. And so we have David Morris. Now this is a shop that I've been into before, and years ago actually. I do have a story about this, but this has some high-end stuff. I mean, everything along here has very high-end stuff, and of course Tiffany. And the Tiffany blue, that is so iconic and popular as a colour. Look at that. Isn't that cool, huh? So we've got Tiffany there, Stella McCartney there, and I've got a feel, Prada. I'm really in Brand Central, and I suppose it's interesting, so let me walk a little further and see where we get to. Alexander McQueen. Look at that. That's a nice looking shop actually. Look at that. Now I know someone that worked with Alexander McQueen, and I don't know much about the fashion industry, but this looks cool, I suppose. Looks very, very, very nice. And Max Mara, Prada. Now I can see JLC down here, and Omega, and what I think I will do is I will go to those two shops, and then I'm going to call it a day, because I'm going to hopefully go back to IWC, and if I'm very, very lucky, they might let me in and video some of their watches. That would be super. And also I'm sick of bumping into people, and anyway. So we've got JLC. Now JLC is a brand that I do like. The Reverso is a watch that I've always thought, you know, I would love to have a Reverso. And look at the brand image there. It's super. I mean, obviously this is a very nice shop. So in the window we have these three watches, and this round one is a Polaris. It's very nice. Now of course the Reverso. Now this one looks like the moon phase day date in rose gold. It looks super. That's exactly the sort of thing that I would wear, that I like. And then a classic three hand and calendar Very, very nice. And all these shops along here, you know, they're all really quite super, and you probably, you know, can tell. So I'm going to make Omega my last. I've just noticed Cartier. I think that must be the watch shop there. So I'll go across there. We've got Vacheron, Constantin. Anyway, let me flip around to Omega, and you know, of course, it's very cool. So this is the you know, the 2023 July release blue color gang, and the color gets darker as the depth gets deeper, and you know, of course, they're very, very nice. I like this one here. I forget its name, but it's a deep diver type. The only thing is, it doesn't have a date, and I like the date complication, but you know, I still like it. I think it's very, very nice, and but that's actually a nice you know, collection. I quite like the blue colouring that they've done. Anyway, on the right-hand side, we have some of the Speedmaster, the very popular Speedmaster diver models, and they look very nice. And if you like blue dials, you know, of course, these are going to be super. But look at that, Omega. It's a nice name, Omega, and the colour scheme, the red and gold, very, very nice. Now, I was going to stop here, but I noticed Vacheron, and I thought, you know, I can't finish there. I'm going to have to quickly show you Vacheron Constantin, and you know, it's very cool. So let's come back into the window, and there you go. You know, I'd perhaps wear that. I would definitely wear these. They're very nice. And what's in the other window? Next to Vacheron is A. Lange & Son. Now, I do like this brand, and they do have one of my favourite watches, and I think it's called I forget the date. It has an unusual dial because it displays the date. It's mechanical, but the date is digitally, appears on the dial. And gosh, I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. But so A. Lange has these 4 watches in the window, and it's very, very nice. Look at that. That is super. And if I like the logo and the colouring once again, and they have this. They have you know, their name on the wall there. It looks very, very nice. And I am really in Watch Central here. Look at that. That's very, very cool. And I said, so if I just come back, Valentino next door, and then Cartier. So let me make, I've just noticed Richard Mille. So okay. So Richard Mille is going to be my last stop. So let's go back to Cartier. So there's Cartier up there in higher up in New Bond Street. I'm in Bond Street now, and so this is Cartier watches, and so they have a little, you know, there's some jewelry in that window. But here we go. Here we have some Cartier, and of course the square Cartiers, you know, are you know, they are lovely. Now, I won't go any further because I'll get in the way of this gentleman. But if I step back and show you the shop once again, look at that. And you know, I was going to finish at Omega just there, and as I was trying to finish, you know, I spun round and I caught Richard Mille. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you'll know that I do like Richard Mille, and of course I like G-Shock, but I do like Richard Mille, and I like Moser in particular, and I like IWC. So these are probably my favourites. But Richard Mille has really become a bit of a king in its, you know, in the watch space, and I think that the, you know, this shop, you know, it's what you expect really. Although I thought Richard Mille was actually in Mayfair. It certainly used to be, but maybe they've brought the shop here, and I'll just go over. I'm actually, there's a lot of people in London today. Once again, I thought Monday was going to be the least busy, but I like the way they just have this one watch in this window, and look at that. You know, I'm going to like that actually. I do like it. It's big, it's colourful, it looks very technical, it looks like a chronograph and a dive watch all together. I like it. That is so nice. That is really very nice. That is super. But if I come over to this window, I'm trying not to get in people's way. So yes, so this watch here. I've done a video on this range, although this model I've never seen before, and also it has a metal case, which is probably titanium or white gold or platinum, but I do like that. Now for Richard Mille, that's a little smaller, but it's still not, I would wear that, but that really does distinctively look Richard Mille. I like it very much, but I like the way that there's a spare window there, and so on this side they have, they have one watch in the window. It's kind of cool actually. I don't mind that. And then they have this one watch in this window. I mean, this is my favourite. I mean, not my favourite, but this is a watch that I like. Look at that. It looks fabulous. I'd love to go in actually and video it, but I'm probably going to have to video Richard Mille and get them to agree to that. So maybe that will happen. But what I will do, once again, I'll just stand back and show you the shop and the windows. It looks very nice. I won't even bother asking if I can go in. I think I'll be wasting their time. But anyway, this is Bond Street. I've been calling it Bond Street. It's actually Old Bond Street. So we have Old Bond Street and New Bond Street, of course. And anyway, so Old Bond Street is the south end that brings you on to Piccadilly. And so we're at the south of Bond Street. In this direction, we have Oxford Street. So New Bond Street is the north end, and Old Bond Street is the south end. So Richard Mille is at the south end, Old Bond Street. And there you go. Actually, I'm going to leave this video on Richard Mille because I like Richard Mille, and it's kind of cool. I'll just take a photo of that as well. There we go. And so there we go. Bond Street, New Bond Street going north. We have Old Bond Street going south, and I'm in Old Bond Street now, and you can probably tell that Piccadilly's there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm south, Piccadilly, and if I walk in a straight line that way, I end up on Oxford Street. And there is Richard Mille. So I know I said I was leaving, but I then saw Roger Dubuis, and I thought, okay, it's opposite. It's actually opposite Richard Mille. So I thought, let's take a look at what Roger has, and because the lighting's a little better, we might have some good shots here. So look at that. I mean, these are nice watches. Lots of skeleton. In fact, all these are skeleton, and they're super. Look at that. Look at the colour on that. So Roger, yeah, these are very cool watches. I sort of like the yellow one because it's so different. It's very bold, and once again, look at the design of the shop and the branding. It is very, very nice. Look at that. Anyway, Roger Dubuis. So I was on Old Bond Street there, and I noticed Watch Club. Now I've looked at their website before, and I've actually been in this shop before, and I thought I'm going to have to show you the window. Now, from memory, I seem to remember all the watches they had were delightful, and so straight away we can see Rolex, and these look some of the new popular models also actually. They're all quite recent, and they are super. Look at that. Rolex is always, they always look so much better in the flesh actually, and I do like the deep sea there. That is super. Look at that. 1 second. So very interestingly, I was just shooting the shop window of Watch Club, and a guy walked up to me and didn't want me to shoot any further, which is totally fine. It might be annoying for people to have cameras in there the whole time. But anyway, I got a little bit, and so I'll either show that now or I'll show that before this. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so you might, well, in a moment you might recognize where I am, because I'm at Carnaby Street, and what I will, you might have worked out why I'm here. Anyway, G-Shock is down here, and so that's why I'm here. Anyway, I'm going to flick the camera around. So this is Carnaby Street. Now, it probably, is a bit annoying, some chap walking down the street with a camera. But I thought I'd show you the top of Carnaby Street, and it's very nice. This is Monday morning, beginning of August, so you can see that it's busy. And so G-Shock is just down there on the right, and what I may do is switch off the camera right now, and switch it back on again when I'm closer to G-Shock. So I will do that. Actually, I've just flicked on the camera for a moment because I don't know if you can see, but G-Shock is there. I'd say about 100 meters away, but I thought I'd show you Carnaby Street once again, and there you go. This is basically where all your cool kids hang out, and it's kind of cool being here. And in London in the last week we've had some lousy weather. So this warm, sunshiny day today, is greatly welcomed. Anyway, I'm getting closer to G-Shock, and I'll switch the camera on again. Okay, I'm very close to G-Shock now, and I thought it was interesting to show you what's opposite, which is Puma, and it's kind of a cool shop actually, and I forgot that was there, but here we have G-Shock on Carnaby Street, and once again it's so busy, and I've never known anything like it. There's always somebody there. In London, because I have the camera and I'm doing what I'm doing, I've never realized how busy, just how many people there are. Apparently most people are tourists, but yeah, once again, G-Shock. Now, I don't know if they will allow me to go inside. These sorts of things you normally have to get permission, but what I may do is, actually I'll flick the camera around as well.